Hello, and
Hi.
welcome to Divorce Disciples, a ministry that's dedicated to sharing the love of Jesus Christ. My name is Chuck, and this is my wife, Anne Marie.
Hello.
This is our first taping, and we are excited to share our experiences and our growth in the Lord.
Amen.
I think we'll get started. I want to preface this a little bit by saying that Divorce Disciples is our ministry. However, it's not in any way advocating divorce. But unfortunately, we have both gone through it.
Yep.
And it's a very painful experience, both physically, emotionally, spiritually, financially, and every other "ly" you can add to that. But God has redeemed us, and He has brought us through, and we're here to share what we've learned.
Amen.
So I think we'll start off this one by kind of giving you a little bit of a background about myself and about Anne Marie. Over the course of time, we will be very transparent with you. You will hear the good, the bad, and the ugly. I think it really says something when you can share the deepest painful things that you have healed, and you can help somebody else.
Glory be to God.
So I'll start by just saying that my name is Chuck, and I'm a Midwestern boy. I grew up in Iowa and Missouri, although we now live in Florida. Grew up in a Catholic family. I mean, God was in our household, but He wasn't in me. I did all the things that were required of me: First Communion and First Confession and Confirmation. I was even an altar boy for 7 years. So we went to church, and I knew things of God, but I didn't know God or having a personal relationship with Him. It was expected in my household. It wasn't really a choice. And so when I left at 17 to go into the Navy, that was the end of God for me. I went out in this world. I did 5 years in the Navy, came out and worked in the private sector with what I learned in the service. Did very well, opened my own business, did better, and started to accomplish, quotes, what this world calls success. Money, things, houses, cars, clothes. But as the Bible describes, I built it all on sand. And so when the waters came crashing and against that, my proverbial kingdom, my proverbial house, it crashed heavy. Anne Marie?
Well, it's funny because I think a lot of you are going to find that we have similar stories, just different circumstances when you find yourself in the position Chuck and I did. My situation was very similar. I was in my 30s. I don't want to say my time clock was ticking because I never felt that desire, but I too had served in the military. I built a successful real estate business, and I found myself getting hitched and married to someone that I have to confess I knew from the first year into the marriage that I was doomed. I had made wrong decision. At the time I got married, I too had been brought up as Catholic, but I wasn't walking with the Lord. So obviously I didn't pray about my decision, and I ultimately made a very, very bad choice for a spouse. Ultimately, one day I came home in 2008, and he was gone. Had taken all the money, left us with just tremendous amount of debt, which we'll get into as we continue to share with you more in Divorce Disciples. I found myself like Chuck 5 years into my marriage. I think you were what? 20 deep. That we were starting over. And at our age, it was a very difficult mirror to look into and see that, you're getting older and you're basically starting back at square one. So we both ended up in marriages that failed. However, we're here, as Chuck said, not to promote divorce, but to try to get everyone to understand that we're humans, we're in a fallen world, and it does happen. As much as some of us try to prevent it, it will happen. And we found that the divorce lawyers are right there ready to fight for you, or so they tell you. But as soon as the divorce is over and settled, mine took over 2 years to get rid of, and yours took about a year?
Yeah.
The only person who made any money at the end were the divorce lawyers, but you're left to still pick up the pieces. And even though as Christians we were both saved by the time we started our divorce proceedings, and we ultimately did meet in church. We've been married now.
Year and a half.
Yeah, we were married in 11. So this September we'll be celebrating our 2-year anniversary. And now, having gone through divorce, we found that there is no support group. The church doesn't speak about it.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah. It's The one church that we go to here locally, Calvary Chapel, Fort Lauderdale, they do have things, the divorce care that I went through. But you find it in most smaller settings, it's frowned upon. It's just not, it's taboo almost.
Still,
And we need you to know that God is there for you. He has already died for all, Jesus died for all these sins. He died for everything, and He has redeemed us. And there is life on the other side.
Yeah, and even though divorce is a very serious thing to God, He hates divorce. It's quoted in the Bible is that God has definite opinion in Malachi 2 about that. But it is not an unforgivable sin. And that's what we want people to understand, that it happens, and if it happens to you and you find yourself being a Christian before, during, or after your divorce, that there are very limited support groups, and we're going to try to take the stigma away as Christians from the fact that divorce happens.
Yes.
And that we are forgiven if we come and confess the Lord, and that if you do everything properly, if we had done it properly, I should say, the first time, we probably wouldn't be in the position we're in today. But we want to share our experiences and be very real, as my husband said, very transparent about what we went through. It's been 4 years of us being actually together as a couple, married almost 2. But it's been a long 4 years, but walking with the Lord has blessed us tremendously. And we're going to share that with you because there is life after divorce.
Okay. So that kind of leads me into, because I wasn't walking with the Lord. I was that whole time. And I had separated and wasn't even getting divorced, but she was already gone back in another state, and I was here. And I dragged myself in, literally, in a suit that I looked like a bag of bones. I was abusing alcohol and drugs. I was really in a bad place, and I dragged myself in there, and I sat down. I felt kind of weird. I'd never been anything but a Catholic church. This was a non-denominational mega church. I wasn't invited. I wasn't brought there. The Lord steered me in there, and that's a whole nother day. But I heard the word that day. I received the gospel, and my life changed from that moment. And that was November, the week before Thanksgiving of '06. And I tell you, He is a great God. So get ready. We're gonna go down. We're gonna go on a one heck of a ride together, and we're gonna share. We also want to know that Ann and I have studied together. We've gone to groups together. We have read books together. However, we do not proclaim to be ministers, pastors, any of it. We don't have any ordained in any way. We just have a burden to share
and a heart for the Lord,
what we've been through, and we have to tell people. So when there are also some books we read on Miles Monroe, we're gonna talk about him quite a bit. We're not saying that a lot of this stuff we made up or some revelation to us, but we have put it into practice in our lives. We have read, and it's all from the Bible. No matter who the author is, there's Mark and Grace. There's several ones, and you'll hear about them if you haven't already. But it all comes out of the Bible, and then they put it into a little bit better layman terms, but we can put it into work in life, and that's what we've done. So we want to say welcome.
Yep, and we want to tell you, give you a little teaser, or spoiler as they call it. We want to give you a heads up as some of the things we're going to be talking about. My husband's going to have a talk strictly for men. I think that's probably going to be the next video he has where he's speaking to, but there will be a lot of truth in for women, so you should stay tuned. And also, we're going to talk about a question that everybody wants to know. If you find yourself in a position to get divorced, can I remarry? There's a lot of myths, a lot of misinterpretations of the Bible, and so we're going to touch on all that, and of course, biblical reasons for divorce. So, as Chuck says, stay tuned.
And we mean it from our hearts. God bless you.
God bless you. Bye.
Bye.